You're listening to Fun with Horror with your hosts, Scotty and Andrew.
Hello to our beautiful, amazing, and wonderful horror fans, family, friends, any other F words that are nice. This is Fun with Horror, the weekly horror movie review podcast in which my best friend in the whole wide world, Scotty, and we take turns giving each other horror movies to watch, and then we discuss them the following week. And we only have 2 rules, that's it. The first rule is that whoever picks the next movie, it has to be one that they have never, ever seen before. And the other rule is that we both get to watch it that next week, or have to watch it. So I chose the last one. We finished our Candyman saga, if you will, and I wanted to stay in the Clive Barker world for a little longer, and so I chose The Midnight Meat Train from 2008, which was directed by Ryûhei Kitamura, and it stars Vinnie Jones, Bradley Cooper, Leslie Bibb. And just again, remember to stay to the end of this episode where we will find out Scotty's pick for our next movie for next week. But without further ado, hey, bud.
Hey.
Hey.
Happy week.
Happy week, man. Happy week. What a week.
It's February.
It is.
It's February.
It is February. February.
February.
There we go.
And I just heard that March is going to be a fun month for horror fans on Shudder.
Whoa, why?
Because this is for the extreme horror fans.
Okay.
Get ready for this, buddy. Get ready for this quadruple feature.
Dude, I'm buckled in. I'm ready.
They are getting a bunch of French horror movies.
Oh.
And you'll recognize one of them.
Okay.
One is Martyrs.
Yeah.
The original French version, not the horrible remake.
Right.
But yeah, Martyrs.
Oh my god.
High Tension. Have you seen that?
I haven't, but I know of it, or I've seen the cover of it, and always been curious about that one.
Yep. One of the few movies that I had to turn off at a certain point and didn't finish until like a couple weeks later when I was ready to.
Whoa.
Then we've got, from our directors of The Deep House, we've got Inside.
Oh, the one you talked about. Ooh.
Yep, we've mentioned that one. And
Yes.
there's another movie called Livid that I don't think has been released in America or something. There was some special thing about its release on Shudder. But yeah, it's another one by those two. So yeah, those 4 movies, that should be a very uplifting night.
Yeah.
They're all coming to Disney Plus in March.
Oh my gosh. Well, Gall, if if someone wants to try Shudder out, that's the month to do it, man. That's some good stuff.
Yeah. March is going to be fun.
That's awesome. Oof.
And honestly, the only other thing I really have
Yeah.
before we get to our movie is I saw a couple movies,
Ooh, what did you see?
and I think you did too.
I saw.
In fact,
yes,
wait,
yes.
did you watch something today?
I did. I watched something this morning.
Tell me what it was.
It was called Countdown.
Oh,
from
interesting.
2019. It's very much in a similar world, I would say, as Final Destination.
Okay. Okay.
Kind of that genre. My brother had mentioned it to me a while back, and so I popped it on, and yeah, it was. I would recommend it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. What about you? What did you watch?
Well, last night
Mm-hmm.
I had a little bit of a found footage double feature,
Ooh, okay.
and they're both going to be very interesting to you.
Mm.
I finally, as you know, in one of our previous episodes, we covered Creep.
Yes.
I finally watched Creep 2.
Ooh. Okay.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to tell you what I thought because there is the distinct possibility that you might, whether you pick it as one of our movies or whether you watch it on your own,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk to you about it until you do.
Fair
until
enough.
You've seen it.
Nope. Fair.
The other movie you have seen, and I finally watched Host.
What did you think?
I thought it was brilliant.
Yes, dude.
I thought it was a brilliant movie, and I'm not going to spoil it for everybody out there. I will say that is the type of movie that scares the heebie-jeebies out of me.
Ooh, yep. Yeah.
And but there was something. So obviously, the whole premise is that the whole movie takes place over a Zoom call.
Mm-hmm.
And to make it even better, last night I watched it on my iPad, so it felt like a Zoom call that I just wasn't part of.
Awesome.
But it was something about it being on a Zoom call that took away some of the terror for me.
Oh, okay.
Just a little bit, just enough. Like, I was able to, for instance, I was able to think about it as I was going to sleep last night, and it didn't bother me. Whereas back when I saw Paranormal Activity, I had to keep my mind far away from it.
Gotcha. Yep.
So, and I also, it's just one thing I realized that is so great about found footage. You know, I know there's a lot of people that don't care for it.
Yeah.
But one of the beautiful things about found footage horror is that you are at the mercy of wherever the camera is pointed. And that gives you a
that's
distinct feeling of claustrophobia.
Ooh, that's really good, Scotty.
You know? Well, I mean, I know it's kind of the same thing in movies, but more cinematic movies, they show you the whole scene, whereas found footage movies are more of a tunnel vision. And there's times you want to turn your head, you know, you want to look left or right, and you know that the person carrying the camera is able to do that, but you're not as the viewer.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody's going down a hallway, for instance, in the dark,
Yeah.
you want to turn left and right, but you can't. You're just stuck wherever the camera's pointed, and you know something bad's going to happen.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Ooh, boy. Although sometimes something bad doesn't happen. It's all a fake out, and then you're like, thank you. And then,
Right.
oh! And then the cat jumps out of the cabinet.
Of course. Always a cat.
But yeah, I really liked it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that one was... I had really no idea what to expect with that one. I had gone on Google or something and said, what are... top 10 movies on Shudder to watch or something like that. And,
okay.
And like the number one kept saying Host.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
A lot of people were talking about it because it was fully made on Zoom during quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really well made too.
It is, yeah. And what's cool...
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I'm sure... I don't know what the budget was, but I'm sure it was not expensive to make since it's all on Zoom, But it was great.
Yeah.
It's just great.
And they still did have some budget. Like, they used effects. There are effects in the movie.
Right. You're right.
So I remember seeing Unfriended. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
I never did.
I think they're all on Facebook chat or something. And
Yeah.
it was okay. But Host got right what Unfriended got wrong, basically.
Nice.
In my opinion.
So good. Oh, I'm glad you watched it, man.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Midnight Meat Train.
So, Andrew, you last week decided that even though we were done with Candyman, we were not finished with Clive Barker.
Correct.
And you picked The Midnight Meat Train from 2008.
Yes.
Which is nice because a lot of our movies have been either back in the 80s or early 90s or much more recent. I don't know that we've done a lot of movies in the mid-2000s.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't think we have.
So, I would like to know, do you have any butter in your refrigerator?
I can't believe it's not butter is in there.
Okay, good. Also, what did you think of The Midnight Meat Train?
Man, really thought-provoking questions. Oh, God. I love you, dude. That's amazing. Cindy will laugh at that, too, because she'll be like, we do have that in there. So I watched it twice. I'm trying to do this now.
Oh, good.
Watch our movies 2 times like you do.
I'm rubbing off on you.
You are. And Cindy always tells me to. She's like, you really should. You should watch it twice. Like, make time. I'm like, okay. So I will say this. The second time I watched it, I liked it a lot better than I did the first time.
Yeah, see?
So that's, yeah. So now we're going to redo all the rest of the podcast that I only watched the movie once.
Oh,
so
I can't wait.
Yeah, I know which
were
one
so
you can't
horrible.
wait for.
Oh.
Anywho. That being said, so the first time I watched, I thought it was fine. It was fine. The second time I watched it, I had a lot more fun with it, but I would definitely say it's in my opinion, it's not a blockbuster. It's not like this movie I got to watch a whole lot. But it was fun. It was kind of a movie of the week. It felt like, kind of like it was fun. It was kind of a fun little horror movie. Yeah. What did you think, though?
So, Midnight Meat Train. So going way back to me as a teenager.
Yeah.
I've mentioned this before. I read all of Clive Barker's books of blood, plus some of his other books.
Right.
All the books he wrote back then, I read because I loved Clive Barker just like I loved Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, Clive Barker was in the commentary for Midnight Meat Train that I listened to.
Nice.
And he even gave huge props to Stephen King.
Oh.
Because Stephen King is the reason that Clive Barker was put on the map. Because he put a quote on Clive Barker's books that said, "I have seen the future of horror, and his name is Clive Barker." And
that's cool.
that got a lot of people paying attention, especially back then. And that's why I paid attention. Plus, the books were called the Books of Blood. Right. I mean, come on. And I think there's 6 volumes, and they all have a bunch of short stories. And there are a few stories. I liked most of them, but there were a few that definitely stood out to me.
Okay.
And maybe the one that stood out the most was the Midnight Meat Train.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the name, first of all. And then just the whole idea. Like, it was just very straightforward and visceral.
Interesting.
A guy on a train in the middle of the night killing people and butchering them. And it was just so gory. Even the story was just gory and bloody and so good. But so when the movie was released, I remember it wasn't released with a lot of fanfare.
Oh, okay.
I think the studio kind of held it back from getting the release it should have.
Gotcha.
So I rented it, and I remember liking it, and that's the only time I've seen the movie until this week.
Nice.
So I don't know if you needed to know any of that, but basically...
I did need to know that. I loved that. That was awesome.
I watched it 2 more times this week, and I like the movie.
Nice.
I think we're going to agree on this one a lot.
Okay.
Because I liked it a lot, but I do have some very specific issues with the movie.
Me too.
So, yeah. And we're going to get into those. But, of course, everybody out there, this is the point of no return. We are about to talk about the Midnight Meat Train in full spoilers. So if you have not seen it, you have been warned.
Yes.
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 And I'm going to talk about the story a little bit, but so I'm kind of going to spoil the short story as well.
Oh, perfect. Please.
But I'll be honest, the movie did follow the book pretty closely.
Really?
So, yeah, it did a good job of following the story.
Nice.
And changing what it needed to.
Okay. That's cool.
So I would like to hear, let's start off with let's start off with the negative.
Right.
And so you say you also have some specific issues with it.
Yes. I do.
Tell me what those are. I want to see how closely we lined up on this one.
I think my biggest one, and you know me, and I've talked about this before, is I love practical effects.
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I love them, and if done well, it's magic on screen.
Yes.
And this movie has some has some bonker kills, which we'll talk about. But a lot of them, pretty much all of them, really utilize some sort of CGI, and I feel like they just relied a little too heavy on the CGI in this one. And I thought, man, of all the movies, this one, of the practical effects they did were great. If they had put that through the whole thing, man, I really think it could have been. I would have put it higher up on my list for sure.
Well, there you go. That's one of my 3.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. I have 3 specific problems, and that's one of them.
Oh, nice.
And so that brings up a good point, because back around that time period,
Mm-hmm.
I think filmmakers were realizing that they could do blood and gore effects with CG, but the CG wasn't great yet for blood. CG was great for other things like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But I remember another movie I saw, I think John Rambo.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever the 4th Rambo movie is that came out around then.
remember.
And it was very, very violent, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the blood in that movie was CG, and it just bugged the crap out of me.
Yeah.
So yeah, watching this again brought all that back to me, and I was like, oh man, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Like the kill of our buddy Ted Raimi.
Yes. Yeah.
Ted Raimi in another movie. And I know that's sticking out in your mind too, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That one especially. However, I will say it was fun to see him again in another Clive Barker.
Yeah, right?
I was like, hey.
I know. I was like, oh, I freaked out a little bit.
Yeah. Me too. I think of, kind of the other dislikes. A lot of mine, that's like the big overall one. I think a lot of my other ones are more specific to certain things.
Well, go ahead and name a couple.
Okay. So we already talked CGI. Some of the dialogue was really, I guess that's kind of an overall one. Some of the dialogue was just a little cringy for me.
Interesting.
For instance, with Mr. Raimi and the other guy and gal on the train.
Okay, yeah.
There was just a few moments like that where some of the lines I was like, oh, God, come on. Like, it's just too much. It was just silly dialogue, I guess, and weird.
Okay.
And that happened, I don't know, a few times in the movie. And then the other thing, it's kind of a bigger thing, was that there was a couple unanswered questions. And you know how I am. Like, I do like a...
Yes.
I do like a solid, here's why this happened. Explain it to me. Dumb it down for me.
I think I'm probably going to be able to answer those questions for you.
Well, I guess
maybe
the big one that gets me, I didn't quite understand why Bradley Cooper was like the next killer, but I guess watching it the second time I did, kind of. But the one that really was weird to me is Vinnie Jones's or his character
Mahogany.
Thank you, Mahogany. The stuff on his chest that he's cutting off and putting in a jar, I don't know what that was about.
Well, they kind of answered that in the commentary, because I was a little bit unsure as well. I had ideas, but it kind of came from out of nowhere, and then didn't really have any answer. But basically, they called them tumors.
Okay.
And basically, it was because every night he was going down there. He was going down to the depths of these subways into this world where these creatures live. And he was close to these creatures all the time.
Right.
It was just after so many years of doing this, he was getting corrupted. He was getting infected, very slowly.
Interesting.
And it's just something that happens when you're the butcher. And Yeah, so that's what that was.
Why was he putting them in jars then? And like,
Who knows?
Okay, it's like, what
Yeah,
is
that's
happening?
that's kind of unanswered.
Okay,
He just collects them.
and then, I guess the other one is, why do we know why Bradley Cooper was chosen? Because I know obviously he's having like dreams and stuff, and then eventually they put the mark on his chest. But like, do they ever explain, or do you know why like he was picked to be the next butcher?
There's not really a concrete reason.
Okay.
It's just that there comes a time, because this has been happening for thousands of years.
Right.
These, in the book now, these creatures are considered the founding fathers of humanity, basically.
Ah, okay.
They've been around longer than humans.
Mm-hmm.
And they always choose somebody to serve them in silence, which is why they take the tongues out.
Ah, okay.
And they're just basically, there comes a time when the present butcher is starting to get weaker, and he's starting to falter.
Right.
And Vinnie Jones, Mahogany, Mahogany was coming to that time in his run, basically.
Gotcha.
And Bradley Cooper just happened to be the person that saw what was going on. He saw it from afar without being a victim.
Gotcha.
And basically there's the moment where Bradley Cooper is sitting outside the subway, and I'll try and call him Leon from now on, because that's his character's name, Leon Kaufman. Leon is sitting outside the subway with his camera, and then Mahogany comes up. And then he follows Mahogany. He comes around the corner, and Mahogany is just stopped.
Right.
And there's a moment that's supposed to convey, like as he walks past Mahogany and Mahogany stops him, reaches out and grabs him.
Right.
There's a moment and a look in Mahogany's face that's supposed to convey that Mahogany knows that this is the next butcher.
Oh, okay.
But he still fights for his place.
Right.
You know, Mahogany knows that this is the person that's maybe next up in line, but he's still got to fight Mahogany and kill him and basically end Mahogany's reign.
Right.
So
interesting.
Yeah. It's made even less clear in the book. It's just
Really?
in the book it's Leon following Mahogany just like in the movie with his camera, and at the end I can't remember how Mahogany is killed, but in the end it's not the conductor of the train or the driver of the train that it's the creatures themselves. There's like this head creature that comes out and takes out Leon's tongue.
Okay.
And makes him the next butcher.
Interesting.
And it's quite a reveal at the end of the story, and that's what I do like about the story, which we'll get into, is that it is a story that seems to be about one thing.
Right.
But then suddenly it's about something else.
Well, the movie did a pretty good job at that, I feel like. You know, it's more, you think it's like a murder mystery, and then just kind of goes off the rails, pun intended.
Right. And I don't know, tell me how you felt, but knowing, after seeing it the first time and knowing what it's really about, how was that second viewing?
You know, I would say it was maybe better. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not sure. I think it was probably the same, because the first time I watched it, I knew it's a Clive Barker, and I knew I don't know, I just felt like it's not just going to be a murder mystery. There's going to be some sort of fantastical whatever thing to this. So I kind of figured there would be. I didn't know exactly what. I thought maybe, in all honesty, I thought it was going to be like some kind of Cthulhu giant creature that was like eating everything. When kind of. It was just other.
It was
creatures.
very Lovecraftian, though.
Yes, exactly.
In that there are creatures. I mean, not every Lovecraft creature is a huge, Cthulhu type creature. There are smaller ones, so it was very, very inspired by Lovecraft.
Nice, cool. Oh, that's awesome.
And I'll tell you this too.
Yeah.
This is another benefit of listening to the commentaries. It was had an undercurrent about being gay, and because Clive Barker is a gay author.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and part of it is about realizing who you are and getting further into this new world and becoming part of a new group type thing.
Oh, okay.
So there is a slight metaphor to being gay, and like, I guess not kind of coming out, you know?
Sure.
Coming out as a gay person and just being part of this new society.
Right. I get that.
So, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up a little bit more about Clive Barker's metaphors or whatnot, what his stories are about in a little bit.
Oh,
But,
good. Okay.
Yeah, I don't
Nice.
know if like that changes anything for you, but I mean, for me, it's like I just remember that feeling. I mean, I do remember the feeling of reading the story the very first time and loving the story as it was.
Right.
Just, oh my God, like this guy is butchering people in a subway car
right.
in the middle of the night. That's horrific.
Yes.
That's amazing. What a great story. And then, no, it's about more than that. He's butchering these people for these creatures that live deep underground.
Right.
And there's others that are in on it, like the driver of the subway train and
Right.
stuff, you
The
know?
police officer.
Yeah, so I mean, I love that about the movie. I love that about the story.
Yeah. It is cool.
So-
No, I think it's quite the 180 halfway through that movie, which is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, I asked you that because for me it is like when I watch it again and I know the reveal or how it ends, it does change the way I view the rest of the movie. I'm watching this person get inducted into this position throughout the movie, and I know what's coming. Instead of just thinking that it's a serial killer movie
Right.
and somebody happening upon it with his camera.
Right. I
So,
like that.
what else? Anything else that you didn't care for?
The other stuff, or the only other one that really I have a note on that comes to mind is there's that sex scene in the place where Maya works.
diner.
In the
The
diner.
diner.
Thank you. That's the place. That's what it's called. In the diner. That was really uncomfortable for me because
It was supposed to be.
well, she like right, yes, but I mean just her facial expressions did not look like she was enjoying anything, and it
She
was,
wasn't.
Yeah, it was not good.
No, but it's. I'm not going to fault the movie for that because it's not supposed to be.
Okay, I didn't know.
You're seeing him. It's maybe one of the very first signs that he is changing.
Oh,
Like he's becoming this obsessed person with everything, and that's why I also another uncomfortable scene is when she confronts him in the apartment and
Right.
he goes to start take pictures of her, and every time he goes to take a picture, he sees something in the subway.
right,
He sees these images that he's been taking pictures of,
right.
and it's taking over his mind and his whole being.
Okay, that makes
So it's uncomfortable.
Yeah,
but
but
it's supposed to be, and
I
I
guess-
like the fact that it is.
Yeah, and I get that, but I guess I didn't, because I mean, right before that happens, he leaves the ring out, to quote unquote propose, kind of, to her, and so I thought, I guess I didn't see it as his madness starting yet. So I thought, in all honesty, I thought it was just a weird scene, like it was supposed to be this nice, happy thing, and it wasn't. So I was like, what is happening here? This is
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But for me, I did like the juxtaposition. I like how it seems like it's going to be like a nice love scene.
right. Yeah.
And then there's just becomes this undercurrent of uncomfortableness
Right.
and brutality.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, not that I like that, but I
No.
like the idea of it in the movie and
Right.
in the story.
Yep, I get you. Yeah. I think though that's really it for my dislikes. My biggest thing, like I said, was that CGI just kind of took me out of it throughout the movie in different spots.
Well, that's a good segue because for me, I have a couple more,
Yes, please.
and they're pretty specific. One, kind of going hand in hand with the CGI, was the look of the movie. It's
Yeah.
very stylized. There's a
Yes.
very contrasty look to it.
Mhm.
When you're in the subway car, it becomes very like bright lights and blues, and
Yeah.
it's this hyperactive look, and it's a decision. I didn't care for it.
I would agree with you. I agree.
Yeah, I think the movie would have worked better just with a natural look, without hyper sensationalizing it.
Right.
I guess. And the weird thing is that during the commentary, the director even says that he even criticizes what he called the MTV look in movies, with super high contrast and when a movie is nothing but that throughout the whole movie, you get bored with it. And I'm like, dude, your movie looks like that. Like your
Yeah.
movie does look like an MTV video.
It totally does.
And you're criticizing it? Weird. And then, much more specific,
Yeah.
the character of Jurgen.
Yeah. Okay.
I did not like him. I thought not that I didn't like him.
Right.
He just had no place in this movie. Like, there was no absolute reason for him to be in the movie.
Right.
Because at first I thought that I didn't really care for the part where he and Maya break into Mahogany's apartment.
Uh-huh.
Because, first of all, how did they know which apartment he lived in?
Yeah. That's very true.
And then it just became cliche. It's like, okay, they're breaking into the apartment, and even though we've seen Mahogany leave his apartment and not come back, go straight to where he's going many times in the movie.
Right.
Of course, this is the one time that he returns to the apartment while they're sneaking around and looking for stuff. Come on.
Like not that much later either. Like 2 minutes they're there.
There was no purpose for it. There was no
Yeah.
purpose for him to come back.
Right, exactly.
The only purpose that scene had was for Maya to research Mahogany and to find out who he actually is and that he's actually doing these things that Leon has said he's been doing.
Right.
But no, Jurgen is the one that gets caught in the closet and Mahogany hits him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole thing is that after that, they go down into the subway
Yeah.
and Jurgen is one of the victims hanging upside down.
Mm-hmm.
And it went against all of the rules of the movie. And that's another reason I didn't like Jurgen. Those were some interesting ideas, like her trying to take him off the hook,
Right.
but then his ankles dropping back down onto the hooks, and oh, that's painful. But first of all, the guy's alive.
Right.
Mahogany doesn't leave people alive.
Nope.
And also, he's not prepared. Like, we painstakingly saw Mahogany preparing a victim.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Taking out their teeth, their fingernails, shaving their hair off.
Mm-hmm.
And none of these are done to Jurgen.
You're right.
And I don't feel like there was any purpose other than to have a live person stuck on the hooks and to create the painful moments that we saw. Like I said, Maya trying to take him off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Mahogany trying to stab Leon, and he stabs Jurgen instead. And
Right.
we have all his guts and blood coming out. Which I liked. You know, I did like it. But you could have done that with any of the bodies. And
Yeah.
even with a dead body, it would have been gruesome as hell.
Agreed. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I did not like Jurgen's character.
I agree.
I thought it was just a cliche vehicle used in the movie.
Very good. I will say too, just to piggyback off that too, with that character, the way they make it sound is like he's supposed to be a really good friend of these two. Like, when they go and drink together, it's just the three of them.
Yeah.
When she breaks in, he goes with her. I mean, that's a good friend.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
on earth did he not hook up Leon with the art critic way before? I feel like if it was you and me, and if I knew someone, I would immediately tell them about you. You know what I mean? So that
I get it.
that bugged me.
That didn't bother me that much because
It
they
bugged
do
me.
explain why. Because Jurgen is also kind of a prima donna, and he wants to be asked.
Just made me mad.
Yeah.
Like, you're not a
that's
good
fine,
friend.
though. No. But I felt like he was a good friend to Maya.
Right, yeah.
I felt like he was friends with Leon through Maya, so
Oh, that's a good point. I like
it
that.
didn't really bother me, yeah.
Okay. That makes more sense. I like that.
And it does make sense that he would go to Mahogany's apartment with her, but I still didn't like it.
Fair.
I felt like a better scene would have been Maya seeing Mahogany leave.
Yeah.
Maybe even a quick scene finding out where the guy lives.
Yeah.
But seeing Mahogany leave, go through the apartment, find everything she found.
Mm-hmm.
And as audience members, we have this tension like, oh, he's going to come back, but then he doesn't.
Right.
But she finds enough that she needs to go find Leon.
I like that. That would have been a better scene. I agree.
You know, and people could argue that, oh, Mahogany coming back allowed Maya to look into his suitcase and find all the schedules and everything that she found.
Mm-hmm.
But nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
No, I agree.
But that's about it. Like, the rest of my notes are pretty favorable.
Nice. Well, let's hear them, man. What did you...
Well, you first, buddy. Tell me some other tell me some stuff you like. This is your movie. I'll get to my stuff. But
right.
What did you like about the movie?
Well, I will say it was good acting. We get Bradley Cooper. I'm trying to think where he was at in his career in 2008.
He had done Wedding Crashers.
Okay.
And Alias.
So
I think he was still doing Alias.
Okay, so not enough to make him what he is today,
No.
I guess. So,
no, I feel like The Hangover is what catapulted him.
Yeah, I agree.
Into superstardom. People knew him, but The Hangover was like, who is this?
Right. Yeah. Yes.
So he was on his way up, but
nice.
But it's still a great catch.
Yeah, for sure.
For your lead role, and he had a lot of mannerisms and stuff that a lesser actor wouldn't have had. So
You're
I
right.
loved him in this movie.
Yep, I agree. And I've always liked Leslie Bibb as well.
Yeah.
She's how much I love Trick or Treat. So whenever I see her, I automatically go to that.
Oh, that's right. She was in Trick or Treat.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
She's at the beginning.
I always, when I see her, my thought first goes right to Iron Man and Iron Man 2.
Yeah, totally. Yep, where she met
we're both
her.
big Marvel nerds.
Yes, yeah, we are.
But the acting. It's definitely a note I have.
Nice.
I did like the acting. It was all very good. Even Jurgen, even though I didn't like the character,
Right.
Roger Bart was fine. He was a good actor.
Yep, I've never minded him. He's in like everything, and he's always that guy.
Yeah,
If that answers your questions.
Did you like Brooke Shields?
Yeah, she wasn't bad. I mean,
She was fine. She was good.
She was fine. Some of
But
her
of
lines
course-
again were cringy, but besides that, she was fine.
Vinnie Jones.
Yeah, I mean, he totally
Wait, what?
looks menacing.
Oh man, I thought you would get a little more exclamation from him. I loved him.
No, he didn't. I guess he didn't have any. Although that doesn't matter as an actor, but he didn't have any lines. But yeah, he was very menacing, and he's a big guy anyway. I think he was.
Think
footballer,
about it. How did
right?
you feel when Leon went to the butcher, the meat plant, the meat place?
Yep.
And he is taking a picture of Leon from the back, and then Leon just turns around.
Yes.
And looks at him.
Yeah.
Come on, great moment.
That was awesome. Well, and then the whole chase as well. In the meat
chase
plant.
was good.
Yeah,
I love Vinnie Jones, and I've loved him in other movies like Snatch.
Yeah,
and Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Yeah.
I was just waiting for him to say he's the Juggernaut, but he never did.
Oh man, don't remind me of that.
Sorry. That was mean.
I'll have to say a bad word and make this an explicit episode. But it's just a quote.
It is. You're right. It is just a quote.
But one of the nicest little acting jobs.
Yeah.
I love Tony Curran as the driver of the subway. He was so good.
Yep. He's such a
Such
creepy
small
guy
part.
in this.
Yeah.
Oh. I feel like he always again, someone that's kind of maybe typecast or something. Like anytime I see him, I feel like he always plays kind of that character that's got maybe like a weasel or something. You know what I mean? He's always like got something up his sleeve.
I hear that.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, he's a good actor, so it works. But yeah, he was great in this. He was a lot of fun.
Could you tell that the movie was shot in Los Angeles? Even though it takes place in New York?
I don't know, because it's always at night for the most part. And so I don't know, I guess.
That was absolutely downtown Los Angeles. And those were absolutely metro cars.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not even fooled. Like the only way that there was any kind of hint that it was New York were the street signs, like the subway stops, I guess.
Right. Yes, you're right.
I'm like, oh yeah, Beale Street. That's not in LA.
Yeah.
What else, buddy? What'd you like?
So one of my favorite scenes was this is gonna sound bad, but it's when those three guys are like kind of assaulting, I guess, the lady. Nothing happens, but it was just so tense. And I thought that scene was really well done, where he stops, Leon stops them, and when the guy starts walking up the stairs towards him, I was like, oh my gosh, like this to me is scary, like, because that this kind of garbage happens all the time, where people are assaulted and people just walk by and don't pay attention or don't stop
and you wonder what you would do in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I like to think that I would do what he does and say, hey, stop it. But
you stop it,
or else. But yeah, I mean, that's scary. That was a very tense scene, and I thought it was really well done. And in all honesty, I thought that those guys would be back at some point, either would cause some delay in a plan or would be, killed on the train, but we never saw them again, which I was surprised about.
Yeah.
I really thought they'd show up again, but they didn't. But yeah, I just thought that scene was done very well and was very, very intense for me.
Okay, yeah.
And then I guess I'll do one more, and it was that I really enjoyed. I like when a character goes against the grain in a horror movie.
Okay.
And right after Leon discovers, in the paper that the model is missing, he immediately goes to the police and is like, I took a picture of her that night. Here it is. And I was like, that's awesome, rather than be like, oh no, they're going to think of me as like a victim or the one that caused this, which he does later. But I mean, right away he goes, and I was like, yeah, that's what I would do too. That's what anyone would do, I think, if they saw that. So,
which leads me to something that I liked about the movie.
Yes, please. Yeah, let me hear your likes.
How the detective that he talked to, she seemed like the cliche, like, I need more proof than this or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, God, the cop doesn't believe him.
Yeah.
But then it turns out that she doesn't believe him because she does know what's going on, and she's part of it. She's part of the conspiracy.
Loved it.
Which is interesting because this whole story, Clive Barker actually wrote a Midnight Meat Train 2 and 3. He said he has them sitting in his house, and he had them written.
What?
And yeah, but I guess the movie didn't do well enough. And yeah, I would have loved to see where Clive Barker takes his story.
Yeah,
it's his story, so he knows
what
happens with the founding fathers or whatever they're called.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is what he calls them, by the way, the creatures, the founding fathers.
I like that. That's awesome. There was one more little thing that I liked, which
go for it.
And I think it's just because we had just watched the Candyman series, but there's that moment where Leon's looking in the mirror at the diner, and he looks up, and behind him outside is Mahogany staring at him. I don't know. It just reminded me a little bit of Candyman, and I was like, aw.
Aw.
So
sees him in the reflection.
Yeah. Something silly, something fun, but there you go. What did you like, though? Give me your likes,
man.
Well,
I did see, it's so weird, like, when you and I can't sleep.
Yes.
What do we do? What do you do?
When I can't sleep, usually,
Yeah.
well, usually I'll just get up and go watch something.
Yeah, but you don't leave.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And,
Gotcha.
You know,
Yes.
I'll read a book or something. But
Right, yeah.
I like the idea of he couldn't sleep, so in the
Mhm.
middle of the night, like 2:00 in the morning, he just leaves. He goes out of his apartment building, and he walks around to try and take pictures in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Yep.
And there was something about that was just so, like, you know, it's that middle of the night emptiness of a city,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a certain type of person that's out that late at night. And
Yes. Yeah.
I kind of dug that.
I like that.
And while I didn't care for the look of the movie, I did think there was some good cinematography
Yeah.
by Jonathan Sela or
Nice.
Sela. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but I did like some of the cinematography, like for instance the first shot of Bradley Cooper, the way he walks into frame.
Uh-huh.
You know, I like that. It wasn't bad. It was just more the color correction.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Yep.
And again, not even the color correction, but just the direction that they decided to go in.
Right.
Because obviously, whoever colored it did a great job of maintaining that look.
Right.
Let's see, what else? I actually, the music.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the music,
Nice.
especially the score that was playing over the end credits was very nice.
Mm.
It was funny. I finished watching this during a break at work because I had started it at home.
Yeah.
And I finished watching it during a break at work, and right after it ended, I went to find the soundtrack on Apple Music, and I put it on, and I listened to the entire thing.
Oh, wow.
So it's not the best score ever,
Right. Mm-hmm.
but I did like it, and I enjoyed listening to it afterwards. And couple little tidbits: the paintings in the gallery
Yeah.
were done by Clive Barker. He's a
Oh.
painter. He's an artist as well as a writer and movie maker, I guess.
Man, that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
really
he-
cool.
He does some really nice paintings.
Yeah.
Kind of scary, just like his stories.
Right.
And I don't know if you caught this, and I think this is the last thing I'll mention.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until I listened to the commentary, but the opening of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
where we see the guy in the subway car,
Right.
and then he goes to the window, and you just kind of get the idea that the next car is filled with blood and something bad is happening.
Right.
That is the end of the movie.
Yeah. Yep.
It's the same guy. I didn't realize it.
Oh, right on. Yeah, the guy sleeping at the end. Yeah.
I'm a bonehead. Yeah, did not realize it at all.
Right on. No, I liked that. I thought that was cool. It's like you can rewatch the movie now and it's a full circle.
Yeah, yeah. He's watching Leon, not Mahogany.
Yep.
Although that's all one question I will say I have.
Okay, what? Yeah.
I don't know if Mahogany is the name given to whoever the butcher is, because Leon still has the bag with the Mahogany's name on it.
Oh.
So maybe Leon becomes Mahogany. Maybe the Vinnie Jones Mahogany has a previous name.
Interesting.
So
yeah.
that's one question that was not answered. That was interesting.
Huh.
But I think that's about it. I think we can get to our 3 questions.
Let's do it.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
So, question number 1.
Yes.
What was your favorite kill or death?
Well, there was quite a number of them in this movie, kills and deaths. But I will say my favorite by far was the woman being decapitated by the hammer and the camera being first person through the decapitation, like rolling away and then
Yeah.
having the eye blink. I thought I was like, oh man, that's really messed up. And then
it goes even a step further,
w-
because then it becomes, instead of looking out of the eye,
right.
you're looking at the reflection of the eye.
Yes, exactly. And then
that was pretty cool.
And that head it looked really good. Like that looked good to me. And I don't know if that was CGI or if that was practical, but they did a good job on that head. It looked creepy and gross.
See, that was one of those little things I gave the movie because
Oh.
I'm like, okay, can you really hit a head that hard that it just cuts clean off like that? Like,
Yeah, I went with it, man. This movie
Yeah.
had so much.
It was fine.
It was fun. What was yours?
Not my favorite kill, though.
What was yours, man?
Well, mine's interesting because it's not so much the kill as more what happens after it. And it was the victim that we see Mahogany finally prepare.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, the death was what it was, but then just watching him, like, the camera did not look away
No.
as he's taking all these teeth out. And even though you know the person is dead,
Right.
it's hard to watch.
Yes.
The sound effects were really good
Yeah.
in that moment. And yeah, it's, you know, this person's not feeling pain anymore, but as an audience member, you are feeling the pain.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Whew.
Well,
So
and-
that was my favorite.
And again, practical effects that were fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it looked like a real person.
Yeah, it did. They did a good job, but I'm with you. That was horrifying.
Number 2, do you think that this movie is scary?
I think the idea of it is scarier than what it was, maybe. So to me, no, I don't think this was scary. Again, this is one I won't lose sleep over. To me, yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
I think honestly, the use of CG made it less scary.
agreed.
CG blood and gore.
Yeah,
I think it would have been better. And then number 3, did you have fun with horror, Andrew?
I would say overall, yeah, I did.
Me too.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
yep.
I have issues. We talked about them.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about them quite a bit, but I think we also sprinkled in the things we liked.
Yeah.
While we were talking about the negatives. But yeah, overall, I would absolutely watch this movie again.
Yeah.
Because even with the CG effects, I do appreciate what they were going for. I appreciate that there's a kill where he hits Ted Raimi in the back of the head so hard that his eyeball flies out.
Right.
Even though it looks goofy as crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Totally.
there you go. The Midnight Meat Train is fun with horror.
Please, step away from the meat.
All right, Scotty. So as we talked about, I jumped into Clive Barker after our Candyman saga.
We are done with Clive Barker.
That's what I was wondering. I was wondering what your next movie is going to be. Is it another Clive Barker? Are we out of the
I
Clive
honestly
Barker
can't
world?
think of any Clive Barkers that we could do that I haven't seen. Because there's Nightbreed, which you've seen,
Right.
and then there's Rawhead Rex, which I've seen, but I don't think you have.
No.
So
What
that's
about
the only-
Hellraiser 3 through 15?
That's true. You make a fine point because we did watch Candyman 2 and 3,
Right.
which were just based on Clive Barker.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean, you got a point. So that's what I'm picking.
Oh, no.
No, I'm kidding. I'm jumping straight to Hellraiser 8.
Why? No,
No, that's not what I'm picking.
Okay, good. Yes. What are we watching this week, man?
Real quick, do you have any idea in your head of what I might be picking?
The only one I could think.
Don't
and
tell
I'm-
me.
Oh, okay.
Don't tell me. I'm just yes or no.
Maybe.
Okay. So, I'm going to make you happy.
Okay.
It may not be what you think,
Oh, okay.
but this week, I would like to watch Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
Yay! Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
dude. Oh, that's awesome.
And we won't talk about what you thought I might pick because who knows? Maybe you'll pick what you thought I was going to pick. I don't know.
Yeah, I might. Oh, this
yeah.
is exciting.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to seeing this, and I know you have too.
Yeah.
And for everybody out there, it's okay. So the weird thing is when I go to justwatch.com to find out where it's streaming,
Uh-huh.
It's available for rental and purchase in all your regular places like iTunes and Amazon, Vudu. But as far as streaming for free, strangely enough, it does say Spectrum on Demand. So I don't know. I don't have Spectrum on Demand, but if you have Spectrum on Demand, you may be able to watch Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
Interesting.
So, but yeah, there you go.
Oh, dude, that makes me so happy. Like, I may be watching that just tonight. I'm very excited about this. Yes.
I will not because I'll be at work.
Fair enough.
But I know Mary wants to see this, so we'll probably watch it this weekend.
Nice. Actually, yeah. I might wait because Cindy might want to watch this one.
And I didn't mention earlier, but yeah, she started to watch Midnight Meat Train because I found out that all you have to really do is mention that Bradley Cooper is in it, and most ladies will give it a chance. But about halfway through, she just decided she wasn't in the right mind frame for that kind of visceral gore and stuff. So
totally fair.
Yeah, she actually kind of gagged during the tumor scene.
Oh, I get it. It was pretty gnarly.
It was totally gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's probably going to watch this one with me.
Nice. Oh, this will be fun. I'm very excited.
So join us next week for what is episode 29?
Are we?
Goodness.
Man.
We're almost to 30.
Jeez Louise.
Crazy. And everybody out there, if you're listening, first of all, thank you. Thank you for listening. We're getting more listeners than ever. So we're just incredibly thankful.
Yes.
If you can find it in your hearts, please go to Apple Podcasts and leave a review for us because it'll help us. And yeah, we're also on all the social medias. We're on Twitter at FunWHorror. We're on Instagram at Fun with Horror Podcast. And we are on Facebook. We have a Facebook group. So join all those if you want, or one of them. And send us an email if you want, funwithhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. But that's it. That's the end of episode 28.
That's the end. That was so good, dude.
Andrew and I took a ride on the Midnight Meat Train, and we survived.
Oh, I love that. But you know what I love more than that?
Me.
Yep.
I knew it.
I love you, dude.
I love you too, buddy.
Thank you for another fantastic week.
All right. You thank you too. Thank you as well.
You're welcome.
And we're going to talk next week.
Yes.
We'll have a lot to say.
Oh yeah, when we enter Raccoon City.
Ooh.
There you go.
All right, buddy. Have a good week.
You too.
And everybody else out there, we love you.
We love you. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
He didn't have what it takes anymore. He knew it must be done. It was a privilege. I envy you.